Well, this video isn't necessarily about fertilizer. Just kidding, yes it is. This is one of our anhydrous bars that I spent the majority of my day getting set up, and as you can see I'm not quite done, but everybody else has gone home for the day, so I think I'm going to wrap up for the day and finish this up tomorrow. All I've got left to do is take these hoses from the mess they're in and coil them up so they're nice and neat and not going to catch on anything and not dragging like that. This is an Orthman double beam toolbar with Hinneker 6000 row units on it that we take the cultivator sweeps off. We call them frogs, and we put these curled shanks on there with the anhydrous knives on them, and then these hoses go on there. There's 17 of them because this is it's a 16 row bar. The first shank there at the tip of my finger and the very last one all the way down there at the end run a half rate of anhydrous. You can see here on one of the impeller cones we've got this T that comes out, and these two hoses, this one runs to the last shank on that side of the toolbar, this one runs to the shank on the other side of the toolbar. The rest of them all run just your standard rate. This is the hose that goes to the tank. This is the cold flow unit up here, which is where the product comes in. You can see it comes in there from the side, and then it gets run through this valve, and there's a valve up here on the front to run the center section and the wings. Now, the reason we do that is because then if we've only got 8 rows, we can fold up, shut off boom 2, which is the wings, and just run this center section here on those 8 rows, and then we don't have 8 rows getting a double rate. Well, yeah, a double rate. The end one would be 1.5 times the rate, but the rest of them would all be double the rate. And it's a little bit windy here today, but I just spent the majority of my day getting this toolbar ready. You can see that coulter is new compared to the one next to it. We got another new one over there, and I don't remember if I put a new one down here. Yeah, that one there, it's a used one, but it's a full-size coulter. It was a takeoff from, I think we took it off because the bearings went out in it, and we just replaced the whole thing, but the blade was still good, so we took it off and kept it and threw away the bearings. I got a little bit of a split on my finger here. But anyways, that's been the majority of my day. You can see we've got it hooked on one of our 8360Rs, John Deere. So we'll be side dressing corn with it. This does run GPS RTK guidance, so we've got sub-inch accuracy on our GPS. You can see our other 8360 is sitting over there with the saddle tanks for the planter. We've got 2 planters, 2 16 row John Deere's, 1725s I think, 16 row stack folds. Those I know I have not shown you guys, but we're not quite done. You might get a video of us planting snap beans. Snap beans are the only thing we've got left to plant. We've just got a few plantings left of those. I think we've got one this week. I know we've got one on the 8th. We're going to be planting just across the road here from the main farm. But that's not scheduled until the 8th of June. But we're probably going to be starting anhydrous here the end of this week. So look for some fieldwork videos here starting end of this week, first of next week, whenever I remember to make a video. This is just, I haven't been filming because I've been cursing and swearing at those damn coulters all day. And to put these shanks on, after you take the cultivator sweeps off down here, you have to slam this bracket down over this arm and line up those two bolts, which is, or can be, a pain in the ass. Now today it didn't go too bad, but other than that one right there under the hitch where the wagon hooks to, that one's always a pain because there's not a lot of room under that hitch, so you can't get a very good swing on it. But other than that, getting these hoses coiled up, this toolbar is pretty much ready to go whenever we get product. Maybe I'll talk a little bit here. These hoses all have to be the same length because you can't use orifices with anhydrous because it's a gas. It doesn't behave like a liquid, it's a gas. So these hoses all have to be the same length because your individual row rate control is all from resistance and the amount of time it takes to get from the impeller cone to the knife. And sorry, the window's kind of gusting there. And the easiest way to control that is to just make all the hoses the same length. Now, it's about 22-ish, 25-ish feet from the impeller cone over there for the wings, from that T to the first shank over here is about 25 feet. Versus if you go the other way, it's about 19 to 22 feet-ish. You have to measure to be 100% accurate, but those numbers are good enough. So if we just cut two hoses the length we need to get to those two shanks, this shank would be getting less anhydrous to it than the shank on the other end of the bar. I can explain this to you more on a day when the wind isn't blowing, or maybe when we're running, but I gotta go grab my jacket. I almost forgot that. I just left that over here on this tire. And other than that, this hose here is the one that goes to the tank. This coupler here, maybe if I can get it in the shot, that hooks in to the hose there on the hitch, and this couples onto the valve on the tank, and then you open this valve and you open the tank valve, and that allows the anhydrous to flow from the tank to your bar. Now there are valves in this system. And grab the jacket, that's what you walked over here for, dumbass. There are valves in this system, but there are no pumps. Anhydrous does not need a pump. It's a compressed gas in the tank, and it naturally flows from the tank through the hoses, through the cold flow and impeller cones to your rows. And that's all it takes to get anhydrous from the tank to where it needs to be. I just got some stuff to put away here. I'm working today. I've got a couple of jugs of stuff here in the bed that need to go back in a toolbox, and got another toolbox that needs to go under a toolbox because it's got some tools that I just kind of carry around. Maybe I'll set you there for a minute because I got these jugs of shit back. Well, not shit, one's rust, WD-40 Specialist Rust Remover, and the other one's just a jug of washing fluid. This I need to take over and throw in the dumpster because it's empty. There's no point in carrying around But anyways, that's probably a long enough video. I may edit this part out, but that's what I've been doing today. It's now 20 after 5. It seems a little early to be quitting, but I'm going to be running some longer days here, probably starting about 7 o'clock in the morning and running till 8, 9, 10 o'clock, whatever it takes to get it done here. You know, some of you 7 o'clock may not seem like that early, but to me, that's, well, it's earlier than I've been starting, because the last few days I've only been starting about 7:30 here. Turn that off because my channel's not licensed for commercial music like that, although that is a good song. I do like that song. But I'm gonna head home here. Hopefully that enlightens you a little bit about what Anhydrous is. Maybe that's a little more interesting video to some of you than what I've been posting the last few days. But like I said, more fertilizer. It takes a lot of fertilizer to grow corn and soybeans. And even snap beans take a lot of fertilizer. Snap beans don't take as much fertilizer. Soybeans don't. Soybeans just need phosphorus, potassium, and some micronutrients. They don't need nitrogen, because the problem with soybeans is you put nitrogen on them, then they get what's called lazy soybean syndrome, and they don't produce little nitrogen synthesizing nodules on the roots. They take for granted that there's nitrogen there, and they don't produce their own, and then you get a poor crop of soybeans. Which, if you don't know anything about soybeans, they're a legume, and which means they produce a little nodule on the roots, just like alfalfa. That's another legume. But the difference between alfalfa and soybeans is you don't get lazy alfalfa if you put nitrogen on it. Alfalfa, if you put nitrogen on it, will take up all of the available nitrogen immediately, and once it starts needing nitrogen again, it will go right back to producing its own nitrogen from those nodules on the roots. Soybeans don't do that. You give them too much nitrogen, a little bit to start is fine, but if you give them too much nitrogen, they will become lazy, they won't fixate their own through those nodules, and then you get a poor crop. Corn is not a legume. It does not produce its own nitrogen. You have to, well, here in the sand, our sandy soils, I shouldn't even say sandy soils, most of them are just plain sand. We do have a few loamy sands, but most of it's just plain sand. Corn, you have to spoon feed nitrogen. That's why we side dress. We don't have the right soil type like you guys in southern Wisconsin or Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, where you can put it on in the fall and it's still there in the spring. That's not going to work around here. But anyways, I'm just about to pull in my driveway, so thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.